Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with...
Presenza, known as the Moo Cow.
Moo! Alright, so we're going to do an extras video, so this should be up on like Tuesday, I think. And we're going to do a video where it's going to be him and I just talking about our favorite Chris Seaver movies.
Yay!
So we decided to do a top 10, which he didn't even think he could do, a top 10, but he did one.
Oh yeah.
So, I guess once you start thinking about Chris Seaver's things, it starts coming to you. So, I guess do you want to say your first 10, right? Like your first.
Well, let's see. So working backwards. Filthy Mcnasty. Yeah,
Ooh.
that was a good one. Of the top 10, though, it's probably my least of that group. But I liked it. It was fun. It was interesting. It's one of the early ones that I remember seeing and thinking, okay, this is Chris Seaver. Probably worth watching. Worth keeping an eye on for this guy.
And mine is Beyond Mcnasty, which is the fourth one of the Filthy Mcnasty ones. I really enjoyed this one, but it wasn't up there as my top. It's just kind of fun and goofy.
It's interesting because I really haven't seen the rest of that series, but...
You've only seen the first one?
Right. How come that one is better than the first one? In your opinion?
Oh yeah, because I don't even have Filthy Mc. I think Filthy Mcnasty is pretty nasty. Like,
oh yeah,
I
that's
think
why I
it's
liked
got, it. Yeah, it's got. For those who may not be familiar with it, it has a scene where a dude's masturbating with his own shit. So
as you do.
You know, I love Deborah Shawn in it. Don't get me wrong; she's wonderful. She is.
She's always wonderful.
Yeah, but she does a great job. She was a knockout, and that performance is just great. But aside from that, I just wasn't my thing, I guess. I don't know. I liked where it went, and we'll get to that actually my next one. So you go to your next one.
Okay, so the next one
Number
for
9.
me, number 9, Carnage for the Destroyer.
Woo!
Yeah, again, it's one of the earlier Chris Seaver films, and I just thought it was a lot of fun.
I like those kind of movies. I like those movies where they're set in like a haunted attraction, and it turns out that there's a killer in the haunted attraction,
right,
but everybody
right.
thinks the person is is part of the show or something.
I mean, it was a little dark, but it's hard to light a place like that well.
I thought you meant it was dark, like it was a messed up movie or something.
Oh no,
it's
actually
very light.
Yeah, I was about to say for Chris Seaver, it was pretty light.
Yeah, it's pretty light. I like that movie though.
It's a little bit more of a traditional film, I think.
It's still not in my top 10, but like he's made a lot of freaking movies. So
this is true.
So we're gonna be talking about, and I'm glad that we have like a different stuff. We don't have the same stuff. I mean,
right.
We might have a few of the same stuff, and I don't even think they're in the same order. So I like that. My number 9 is Filthy Mcnasty 2. Not 3 and not, well, I mean, obviously I just said 4 before, but Filthy Mcnasty 2 gets higher praise, I think, than Filthy 1 or Filthy 3. Filthy 3 I liked, but I just think it wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't as fun for
Filthy
me.
3 sounds like a Quentin Tarantino title.
Yeah, Filthy 3. There you go.
Okay.
So, and that was Filthy Mcnasty Maximum Douche.
There you go. There you go.
The title. So, you're
okay,
next.
so number 8 for me, Taint Light. Because anything that's going to start making fun of
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight and sparkly vampires, I'm gonna like it.
I did like it. I saw it on Netflix.
It was a cute parody.
When Netflix used to stream Chris Seaver movies and a lot of the Tempe stuff, I watched that movie and
I wish they still did.
I wish they still did too, but whatever. Well, let's not get into that. It's a whole nother video we could do.
True.
But yeah, no. Taint Light, I thought was good. It was a pretty good one.
It was a cute movie.
Once again, not on my top.
Understood.
I don't even have it. I need to buy that at some point.
I do.
You have it?
No.
All right. Awesome. So number 8 for me is Anal Paprika 3. Yeah, these titles are just crazy. It's Anal Paprika 3, Menage a Death. That's what it's called.
And I have not seen any of the Anal Paprika movies, and I need to.
Basically, Anal Paprika, it does not have anything to do with the title or whatever. It's basically these 3 friends who are basically going around and deal with the different stuff that they deal with. Their first time there's like a killer out in the woods. The second one's vampires, and the third one's witches and stuff. So it's kind of cool. I like the third one because it felt more like Buffy and it had a little bit more fun. So that was, there you go. So.
Okay. So then number 7 for me is a movie that we've already done on Indie Film Cafe, Ski Wolf. And I have to say, I was impressed with it. Hadn't seen it before, except for when we did the Indie Film Cafe episode, so it zoomed pretty close to the top for me.
You didn't see it, did you?
No, I had not. It was. I thought it was very well done. Had a few things that like the sex scene that kind of went on a little bit long, but the acting I thought was really, really good, and I liked the characters, and I just thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Good movie.
We'll get to that later for me, because that's actually, wow, it's the first one that's we both have on the same list. So, number 7? Number 7 for me, Mulva 2, Kill Teen Ape. I like this better than the first Mulva. They haven't made a third or fourth or anything, but they made 2 Mulvas, and I like this one better, mainly because of Deborah Shawn, and because I thought that the main girl that played Mulva was a little too wacky in the first one, and I just didn't really do anything for me. But well, you'll get into that later. But yeah, Kill Teen Ape, which was like a parody, obviously, of Kill Bill. So.
Right. Okay, so on to number 6. We have Evil Dead Inbred Redneck Zombies,
which
like
I've still not seen, actually.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's nuts. It's just insane. It's kind of like a sort of cabin in the woods sort of thing where they read a book they're not supposed to read, and all sorts of things happen. And it's nuts. You'll have to check it out. It's fun.
Definitely, I'll definitely check it out.
It's Chris Seaver to the max.
I'll have to watch that, and then there's another one that we'll get to later that I haven't seen either that he lists on his, and I couldn't put them up on my list because I haven't seen them. Plus, I don't know. We'll see.
It's amazing to think that between the two of us that there are Chris Seaver movies that we have not seen, but
both of us, yeah,
they exist somehow.
That's why we have the studio now, so
right.
that we can have like a Chris Seaver night or something and watch like a marathon of them. Since they're so just short, they're like an hour.
Right.
You watch like 3 or 4 of them in a row.
And I'm hoping somewhere back there, Chris Seaver's watching us and says, he's got a few movies hidden back in his vault someplace that he hasn't shown anyone, and maybe he'll come on down to our studio and surprise us with one. That would be nice.
Well, that would be nice.
Come on down, Chris.
Dude, if you want to, I have this really funny story right before I get to my next one. But Chris Seaver, I met him at Horror Find in Gettysburg, and I was walking around with my friend Chris Harkins, and I was like, Chris, Chris Seaver's supposed to be here. I wonder where he is. And he literally walked right out of the hotel right when he said that. When I said that, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So then, a couple of months later, I went to Monster Mania in Maryland, and it was a Sunday, and I was like, oh, Chris Seaver's supposed to be here. He was walking right next to me. So I have this thing where I could probably call him. Maybe he'll come through that door right now.
Perhaps it's the wind.
Maybe. All right, so my next one was at 6. For 6 is Karaoke Kid.
I've not seen that.
So this is a movie that he made, I don't know when, 2007 or 8 or something. And basically, it's a Karate Kid parody. This kid, the new kid in school meets the hot girl, but she's owned by some guy.
That's funny.
And the only way to win is by doing karaoke. It's just the only reason I'll never get like a release, like a real official release, is because they have real songs that they play.
Yeah,
They can't do that.
But I know he loves his 80s tropes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just wish they had other 80s songs that they could get the license to or something or whatever. But whatever. What's your...
So number 5 for me is it's the one that I first noticed Chris Seaver, my first Chris Seaver movie, and that's Mulva Zombie Ass Kicker. And yes, I happen to like the original Mulva just because she is just such a train wreck. You're not going to see really any other character like her or anything like that. The whole part where she's, doing that and doing the chocolate and all that. It's just so gross and funny to me. It's very strange. So.
Turns me off, but whatever.
Usually if someone's going to go there, it's going to be Chris Seaver. So full props for that. So.
All right, we have been filming. Right?
Oh yeah.
Is it moving? Yeah,
it's
it is.
moving.
Okay.
Silly.
I'm always worried because we always have these problems where it just doesn't film or something, and I'm like, oh my god.
Technical difficulties.
From time to time.
I usually blame Continuity Monkey because he's such a rascal.
I know. All right.
So what's your number 5?
So my number 5, Heather and Puckley Cock Block the Apocalypse, the third.
As they do.
And the Heather and Puckley. Well, if you count 12 Inches of Dangling Fury, which is their first short.
And I do.
Okay. Well, if you count that, this would be the 4th. But this is the actual Heather and Puckley, like from their solo stuff that they've done.
Okay.
Heather, 12 Inches was more Kyoko or something. That was her character's name. But whatever. Anyway, Heather and Puckley, Cock Block the Apocalypse. It's a kind of a parody of Harry Potter. So.
Yeah. And now I have not seen any of the Heather Puckley stuff. I did know that it was kind of a Harry Potter parody, and since I don't really like Harry Potter, I figured I probably wouldn't like.
No,
Harry
you'd
Potter.
Probably love it because they make fun of it.
Then I should be watching it.
Yeah, maybe at some point you'll see it.
Okay.
I mean, you can watch all 3 of them. They're really short and fun. So.
Okay, so on the number 4 for me, I Spit You on Your Grave was hysterical. That's the one where for me I got introduced to Leo Deschamps, who's one of my favorite characters. It was done in a very, very retro throwback 70s style. It was a lot of fun, a lot of crazy violence in there, a lot of good practical effects, and it was actually a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed that movie.
Once again, a movie I have not seen.
You got to check that one out.
I'll have to watch it at some point. I would definitely check it out, but I haven't. I don't know why. I think it might be on Amazon Prime. A lot of his movies are on Amazon Prime and stuff, so I might watch it at some point just to check it out, and I might do a review of it.
That would be cool.
My own solo review of it. So because we've been doing that. I mean, you need to start doing that.
Well, it's just a matter of fitting them in time. I'm going to start doing that too, but just a matter of fitting it in.
Mm-hmm. So all right. So my number 4, right 4.
Mm-hmm.
Tear Blood Fart Lake.
Yay!
Which
It's on my list.
Shit, I shouldn't have said that.
It's all right.
I think that was, yep, sorry.
That's my number 2.
Can't tell them that yet. Oh,
it's all right.
Oh, well. You found out into the future. But Terror Blood Fart Lake was number 4 for me. I enjoyed it. I know Nicola, I've had her on my radio show before, who's in it, and Dustin Hubbard, who manages her and is good friends with everybody. He gave some money to this project or something,
okay. Very cool.
Things like that. Yeah, it's definitely a project I I like. So it's fun.
Oh yeah, good film.
Yeah.
All right, so number 3, which is another movie I think you might also have enjoyed, Quest for the Egg Salad.
Quest for the Egg Salad.
Which is, I guess you could call that Chris Seaver's parody of Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. Very interesting, and not the sort of thing I would have expected from someone who gave the world Mulva Zombie Ass Kicker or some of the other movies that I'd seen. So this was kind of a step in another direction. I was glad to see it, and I quite enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So it's
awesome.
It's hard to do a really good parody of fantasy type movies, especially the high-end Hollywood fantasy ones, but I think Chris did a very good job.
Good job, Chris.
Okay, so what's your number 3?
Movie I know you haven't seen, but I love it to death, is Scrotal Vengeance. Once again, a title, he does these, Paprika, 12 Inches of Dangly Fury, Scrotal Vengeance. They all sound like pornos, but they are not. In fact, some of them don't even have sex in them at all. Scrotal Vengeance does not actually have, nudity, though the main girl looks like she would have nudity in it. I forgot her name. Virginia Masery. I don't know if that's really her real name or whatnot. I always liked her in it. I thought she did a great job. It's a fun vampire thing, and it was my first introduction to Razor McBleed, who's in Filthy Mcnasty here, and he's in was in another one. Like basically, I think he might have been in Filthy 3 too. Something, I don't know. He was in another one, Rage and Bleed. But this is my first thing with him, and I really, really enjoyed that movie.
You know, it's interesting. We could actually do a whole other separate video talking just about some of the stock characters that float in and out of the Chris Seaver universe that show up in all the different movies. Your Bone Jack and your Teen.
Which you're not a big fan of Bone Jack.
I'm not a big fan of Bone Jack. He's very irritating, but I understand.
You're not a big fan of Teen Ape either, so you're not a fan of like his.
I like Teen Ape a little bit better.
Well, I mean, it's funny.
But Leo Deschamps is one of my favorite. He shows up in a lot of films, and there are a few other ones.
What's the girl's name? Starts with a Marge. Marge.
Oh yeah,
Marge. Like Marge.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
All right, so on to your number two.
So number two, yeah, we've already mentioned it. It's A Terror of Blood Fart Lake. I just thought that was a very funny, very interesting film, and it's one that I tend to sort of show my friends when I sort of want to introduce them to the world of Chris Seaver, where it's definitely got some gross out stuff, but it's also very clever. And I really like the acting in that film. I can't remember the actress name who just blew me away in that film. The one who was doing all the fake Hollywood accents. She's been in a bunch of his movies. I just don't remember her name because I can't remember.
Not Jesse Ames.
Yeah, it's Jesse Ames.
Okay.
Yeah, she was so good in that film. I mean, she really, really was. And
yeah, she was like acting like she was in the 50s or
right.
something.
It was great. She perfectly walked the line between cartoon and then just over the top fun. It was really well done.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
great movie.
It's on my top 10.
So what's your number two?
My number two is Quest for the Egg Salad.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah, it was the first introduction to Chris Seaver. I'd watched I read Make Your Own Damn Movie, and if you read that book, they actually have a bit where they talk about Chris Seaver and the low budget pictures, and they had a lowbudgetpictures.net site or something. So I went to it, and back in the day, and I sent Chris an email and said I was a fan, blah blah blah. Somehow or another, he got my AIM name, from there, and he was like, hey, hey, blah blah blah, and I was like, who's this? And he was like, Chris Seaver, and I was like, okay. So nice. I said, well, I'm about to rent from Netflix Quest for the Egg Salad. And he goes, well, if I never hear from you again, I understand why. And I was like, okay, that's not a good selling point. But I don't think he's a big fan of this movie. I don't know. Oh. But I loved it. I absolutely think it's
a shame because it's really done well. And I have to tell you, it has some of the best makeup on just about any of the Chris Seaver movies. But for a micro budget production, I was really impressed by it.
And it's got two of my favorite actresses from, it's got Tina Kraus, who I love to death. She's been in a ton of movies, especially in movies with Misty Monday and people like that. But it's also got Jen Stone, who I have a huge, huge crush on, probably still. I haven't seen her in anything in a while. I don't think she's really an actor. She never really, pursued that, but she should. Your phone is moving.
My phone is moving. That's okay. It does that from time to time. Not sure why.
Okay. You might have something to look into. But anyway, that Quest for the Egg Salad, good lord.
It's gonna move.
It's gonna move until it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the number one. Our number one Chris Seaver movie. So for me, I can't help it. I loved Sexquatch. That was just one of my favorite movies of all time. It is just so over the top and so insane and so much fun. It's got a little bit of everything. If you like gross out films, if you like just clever parodies, if you like just about anything, this is a movie you want to check out, and it's all that and then some. A lot of fun.
And we were discussing right before here, I'm not a huge fan of Sexquatch myself, and mainly because there's just some characters that just put me off. He loves them.
Oh yeah, I love the
just
extreme
like
characters.
Mulva, they put me off, and I just can't take it out. That doesn't mean I don't like the movie. I do like the movie. So When I don't put them on my top 10, that does not mean I don't like the movie.
Right.
There are very little movies that I'm not a big fan of. Like I couldn't get through Phantom of the Grindhouse, which is one of his newer movies or whatever. But I couldn't get through that. But aside from that, and maybe Deathbone, there's the two ones I don't like. But there's a bunch, and I'm actually gonna, after I get to my first one, I'm also going to let you guys know. Well, I might as well do that now because I have these, and you don't really have ones that you thought of, right? That are, like
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Not so much. Not so
Alright.
much.
Well, I have 3 that I wanted to bring up that I did not put on my list, but kind of wish I could have put it in there, but there's just too many. House on Bojack Hill. Terror Bloodfart Lake, or Return to Terror Bloodfart Lake, and Ghoulish Chronicles from Bojack High. All 3 of these are wonderful. And Meredith Host, who's in a bunch of his movies, the red hair girl, a bunch of their movies. She's in Heather and Pugley as Heather. She's just wonderful actress, and so she's wonderful in that. And I loved. I think she was in Bojack Hill as well. So. Definitely one. Those are the things.
Yeah,
But,
Return would have been an 11th one for me if I had gone and done a couple more. I liked it. It wasn't as good as the original. It's hard to beat the original, but it was still pretty good.
It's hard to beat the original most, except for when Chris Seaver. I don't know.
Wow,
for me,
true.
I usually like his third ones or second ones better than the first ones.
It happens.
It happens, but thankfully I keep watching them. You know. All right, so last on my list is Ski Wolf, which was number what? 7 for him.
Well, yeah, in reverse order, but yeah, 7.
It was 7 for him and was number 1 for me, and it was number 1 for me mainly because I just like the hijinks and the silliness and goofiness. And it's got a little bit of horror, but not much at all. You know, and I think Chris Seaver is really good at doing horror comedy, but he's also really good at doing comedy. Another one
Yes.
I didn't put on my list that's really good is there's a movie called Geek War. I thought it was fun. It was a really entertaining movie. But it's just not on my top 10. It's a good movie. He also did a movie called The Weird Seas, which I don't know if it's not even. I don't even know if it's out or available
No,
yet.
I'd love to see it though.
But I saw it. I got a screener copy of it, and I think I did a review or something of it, or I was going to. I don't know if I did. I should do a review of it. I have to rewatch it again. But
Darn, let's do it.
yeah, it was good. It was a really good movie. Very Stand By Me-ish. But that was the point, was it wanted to do another, like something that wasn't horror, you know, and he's really good at that, doing comedy.
Yeah, he's really good at mashups, you know.
Karaoke Kid was not a horror film. It was action karaoke movie. I don't like it.
As you do.
Yeah, so it was, it was fun. And so I think that is what I enjoyed. I enjoy a lot of his horror stuff, but I also really, really enjoy a lot of his goofy comedy. So we don't have any of the newer stuff on the list, and honestly, it's okay, but I kind of wish he would go back to low budget pictures. I know he kind of left low budget pictures to do his new stuff, and now he's not even filming anything because he's just working on podcasts and living life and stuff. So,
The family man now.
Yeah, but wish he would go back out and get more stuff for low budget pictures because I kind of miss that stuff. So like Chris, if you want to come be part of our group and or come for a day and show us something that we've never seen before.
Guest star in our show.
We would love that. We don't have any money to pay you right now, but maybe we will later down the line. But all right, well, anyway, thank you guys so much for checking this out.
It was a lot of fun.
If you liked any of the Chris Seaver movies, please comment below. And if you didn't like any of the ones we mentioned or something, or you turned off by whatever, please also comment those things. Love hearing, and whatever your top 10. If you want to write your top 10, go right.
Right. If there's a Chris Seaver movie that you think we should check out,
That we
definitely
didn't
let us
mention.
know. You know,
Evil
mail it,
Knight. I forgot to mention Evil Knight. That's
Oh,
a great
yeah.
one, but it's
mail it to Continuity Monkey, and he'll make sure that we get a copy of it.
yeah, definitely. So thank you guys so much for checking
Yep.
this out. Please check our Patreon. for Indie Film Cafe. I think it's like patreon.com/Indie Film Cafe. Also, we are in Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean. We're all over the place.
Yep.
Check us out.
We got our YouTube channel. We have our main webpage as well. So yeah, we're all over the place.
And I mean, this isn't set in stone yet, but this is something I'm hoping is going on. Hoping to be at Texas Frightmare in May, and if that's the case, I'm hoping to get some interviews with some of the cool people, like Charles Band will be there, and Robin will not. I don't know if I do.
My heart breaking.
Robin Sidney will not be there, as far as I know. Now she might. She said if she's in Texas around that time, she'll go. I'm sure like that's not part of her plan. So that'd be awesome to see Catherine Hicks from Child's Play will be there.
All right.
Nope, that's just okay. Sorry, I thought she was in that picture, but no. But anyway, yeah. So check us out. We will also be giving you guys more videos. Like I'm doing more review stuff. He's doing some trolling for stinkers episodes. So keep checking the site out and subscribe.
Don't forget Scares the Care coming up this summer. We'll be there.
In August. It's a long time away.
Long time, but it's coming.
But I'm excited because Sick Flick Productions LLC will have their own table.
Yay.
And Paul and I will be there. You'll be there all 3 days, right?
Probably.
Yeah, that's the plan, at least, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have more people out there. Stro will be there.
Yeah, Stro.
Stro, who's right there, up there. So thank you guys so much, and Papa, yeah, that's what he likes to be called. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking this out. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bah.